Today, friends, we are in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I am not from this immediate area of Pennsylvania, but I have a bunch of new bulk food stores that we're going to be visiting today. Some of them I've never been to, so I'm excited to experience them with you. If you guys are totally new to my channel, I do create other bulk food shopping videos and take you guys with me and then show you my haul at the end, show you the good prices that we find and those kinds of things we can buy in bulk and save a little bit on groceries and things like that. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot of our first stop. This place looks so interesting. I've never been here before. There's some playgrounds outside, places to sit outside. I did, of course, research these places online. So this place is called Singing Springs Foods. It looks like we've got bulk foods, a deli, other discount type foods, and then they also have a cafe here. So I'm excited to go inside and just see what all they have. As you walk in to the doors of Singing Spring Foods, there's this big mural up on the wall, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of another store that I visit. It seems to be a thing with Amish or Mennonite stores that they have murals painted with scripture verses and things like that. So right as I walked into the door, it was a very familiar sight when it comes to bulk food stores, in the sense that they had a bunch of pallets with, or skids as some people would call them, with discounted grocery items to where you could grab an entire case if you wanted to. I believe some of these even had case prices on them, or you can just grab the amount that you want. They also, right along the one window area, right as you walk in, had a lot of bulk dry goods. So things like organic cane sugar, that was really cool to see, and flour and oats and salt and things that if you want to buy large bags of them and put them into like a 5-gallon food grade bucket, you can do something like that. They also have the great wall of candy, as do almost all bulk food stores. Bulk candy is something interesting to me. It must be just something that's easy to get a hold of, easy to access whenever it comes to owning a bulk food store, I'm guessing, and nuts go right along with that. It's just something that I see at pretty much every bulk food store that I've ever been to. Another thing they have is pasta in bulk. This again is something very, very common, but it was neat to see a lot of the more Amish style pasta, things that a lot of Amish and Mennonites cook with. Of course, we are obviously in their neighborhood, in their neck of the woods, as they would say. And so, of course, the foods that they cook with are going to be available here in bulk. They had the big bags of pasta on the bottom shelf, as you guys have seen before. And then on the one end cap, they also had different popcorns that you could have in bulk. These I thought were a little bit bigger bag sizes than a lot of the other bulk food stores I generally visit, but they also had the flavorings and the liquid butter and those types of toppings for your popcorn. The next zone was the bulk spices. They have them in the square sort of containers, and then they also had what looked to be the entire line of farm dust. If you guys don't know, that's a Pennsylvania, I believe it's Pennsylvania based spice store or company brand that seems to be at a lot of the bulk food stores. The next area that I went through was all of their baked bulk foods, and I also noticed they had homemade granolas and grape nuts, which is a little unusual. I don't think any of the stores I normally visit have these items, so that was kind of special to see as well. You all know that I share a lot of my goals with you here on this channel, just like once a month bulk shopping. I take you with me. We get lots of great healthy finds. Well, another goal that I've had recently is to get stronger and to find a fitness plan that works for me. I want to say a big thank you to Ladder for sponsoring today's video. You guys, I am so excited to share this with you just because it's something I use almost every single day, and it's something I've tested tested and tried and can confidently tell you that I love it. So basically, Ladder is a strength training app that gives you a plan from an expert coach every single day. If I'm being completely honest, and I've mentioned this before, in fact, a couple videos ago, I was talking about that I have finally found something that works for me, but I am someone that has never truly been on a consistent workout schedule or anything like that. And I can't believe that I finally found something that I'm sticking to and I really, really love. For what feels like years, I've talked about getting a personal trainer, but honestly, having so many things on my plate, I just don't always have time to work my schedule around someone else's. But with Ladder, I'm able to fit it into my own schedule, which is absolutely necessary and amazing. Through the years, I've tried different influencer workouts and things that just felt like a mismatch and didn't totally make sense. But with Ladder, I don't even have to go looking for all of this. All I have to do is turn it on, do the workout, and it's that simple. I don't know if I've ever wanted to work out as much as I do with Ladder. The plan is never boring. They're always changing things up, and it actually makes it fun to do. Plus, I can put my own music on, and it sort of quiets the music whenever your coach is talking, so you can play whatever music you like, which is really important to me because I'm very particular about the music I listen to. Another aspect is the team chat. So you're put on a team. I'm on Team Mia, which also just introduced an entire love for Pilates. I've heard people talk about Pilates a lot, but I've never really experienced it for myself. And Coach Mia has folded that in with all of the great strength training moves that she provides. I just love it. If you feel like your current fitness routine is not giving you results, it's because you don't have a plan. With Ladder, you get a strength training plan from an expert coach. There's different coaches for you to find the plan that works best for you. You can even take a little quiz and get matched with a coach, but you can also change coaches if you want to swap it up. No matter your style, whether you're doing kettlebell, Pilates, bodybuilding, strength and conditioning training, you are going to find a plan that works great. So you guys can check out the link in the description box below to get up to 33% off. You guys are going to love Ladder as much as I have. And would it really be a true bulk store shopping trip without seeing all of the jellos? This is something that every bulk food store, I feel like, carries, along with a lot of different flavorings. And then down on the bottom shelf, something caught my eye. Now, this is something I don't see as often, but it's something I grew up my mom using. These are fillings. So if you make homemade donuts, you can use the apple pie filling or the jelly filling or the pudding fillings, and they're pre-made and ready to be piped into fresh donuts. Another area that was very large for this store is their bulk cereals. I have seen these. We do have these in some of the bulk food stores I normally go to, but this variety was huge. I think this was the largest variety of the big bag cereals that I have ever seen. It looked like a rainbow of colors, and pretty much every type of cereal you would normally purchase in the store, this brand had their version of it. So whether it was marshmallows or Rice Krispies or whatever you want in your cereal. And then they also carried a lot of just normal things you would find in grocery stores, things like pre-canned soup and condiments and things like that. Now, something that I appreciate so much when it comes to Amish and Mennonite bulk food stores, discount stores, is they tend to really support local companies as much as they possibly can. So you will see things like local honey, local maple syrup, peanut butter, other things that are made locally that you can purchase. And then another thing I noticed about couple of the stores that I went to this day was the gallon jugs they had of a lot of things. There's not often gallons of honey and maple syrup sold in the stores I regularly visit. So that was really interesting to see. And then another thing that is often found at these types of stores is tinctures, home remedies, and that kind of thing. And this store definitely did not lack those things. So these types of stores often carry like school supplies, and that's because a lot of the Amish and Mennonite schools are very small and they only service the areas right around them. So a lot of times they don't visit larger grocery stores very regularly. So for them to be able to access different supplies that they might need for their small schools, these types of stores will carry them just so that they're easy to access and they can get them without having to travel further away to larger stores. So this little section really took my interest. This was a local company, I believe it's called Green Forest, and they make natural self-care products. So they have soaps and shampoos and lotions and chapsticks, and they even had a few ingredients to make this type of thing in gallon jugs on the bottom, which I thought was interesting. I did not pick up any of it, but I just thought it was very interesting. I didn't need it to this day, otherwise I may have. They also did have more conventional type cleaners and products, self-care products. So something that I thought was really neat is they had large bins of apples, which would mean that in the summertime they probably have local produce very regularly, just because apples are something that you see in a lot of local stores in the Pennsylvania area, because they are something that do grow in season, but they can refrigerate them and hold them out through the colder months. I also found potatoes in a 50-pound bag, which you all know I buy that a lot. And then they had homemade soups. These looked really delicious, and they seemed to be something that was either made in store or made locally somewhere near the store. Moving on to what I felt like was the highlight of this store, they had so many different locally made cheeses, which I thought was amazing. The ingredients looked so clean. Like, a lot of them started off with raw milk and had very few ingredients, which goes to show you that there isn't much additives. Plus the flavors looked so good. They had like buffalo wing flavored cheese, oregano and basil, just many different flavors. So you would be sure to find something that took your fancy. And then they had a large display of different local raw honey products, including some beeswax, which is something that if you are someone that likes to make your own products for at home, whether it's lip balms and things like that, it's nice to have access to those things. They also had their own line of home canned goods, so things like salsa, pickles, and that type of thing that were from their Singing Springs food line. Something that took my eye in the dairy section was this mint milk. They had strawberry milk, chocolate milk, like you see in a lot of places, but they had this green mint milk. I just thought it was so interesting. I'm sure that it tastes good, but I just don't know if I've ever seen mint milk before. And then they had lots of dips and other regularly sliced cheeses. Then something else I saw, which is in bulk food stores, I mean, at least a lot of the ones I've been in, is large buckets of frosting. So if you were going to make whoopie pies, or you were going to do a lot of cakes or something, you could come here and you could get large buckets of vanilla frosting. You could also take that frosting and put things like mint in it or peanut butter in it, and it's just kind of like a base. They also had large buckets of lard, which is something that a lot of the Amish and Mennonites cook with, and I occasionally myself use lard to season my cast iron skillets. They had frozen cookie dough, which looked so good. And the great thing about a lot of these things, because they are Amish made, they have more whole ingredients. You're getting real eggs and things, and you can just trust the ingredients a bit more. They also had large buckets of ice cream for birthday parties and weddings and things like that. And they even had a few more natural type ingredients, like big bags of pink Himalayan salt. They had a really nice deli here. It reminds me a lot of the other delis that we go to. The prices were very reasonable, especially compared to conventional grocery stores and what prices you're paying at delis at those types of places. They had big blocks of cheese. I mean, the amount of cheese in this store was quite incredible, quite impressive. And of course, a lot of it is in the 5 to 6 pound blocks, which is how I buy most of my cheese, just because it's just so much cheaper per pound to buy your cheese this way. And the variety was just quite large. And then on top of that, they did have some cold salads, things that were pre-made: broccoli salad, potato salad, macaroni salad. And then they had a really nice produce section, which, like I said, in the warmer months is probably more heavy laden with local produce and things like that. But all in all, this is a super rounded store. I feel like you would find everything you need on your list at this store. They really just carried a nice variety, and their little cafe, or I shouldn't even say little, it was a nice sized cafe. Their cafe was a absolute pleasant surprise. They had baked goods, they had pretzel sandwiches, they had like coffee drinks, a full coffee bar, and an ice cream bar. So it was a great stop. I saw so many people stopping in and getting their lunch here. It seems like a regular stop for many, many people, and the food was just delicious. Okay, friends, so this is so fascinating to me just because, like I said, some of these stores I haven't been to before, and just comparing them to bulk food stores that I visited before and all of that. I'm going to give you all of my thoughts whenever I'm doing the haul and everything here after a while. So you will get to hear my thoughts about these stores, because I definitely have some. So the next place we're going to go into is called Strasburg Marketplace. I'm so excited to go in here because there is a location for Latte Love, which, if you're familiar with the Lancaster area, they are a coffee shop that they have different locations, and one of them is in this marketplace. From what I think, we stopped in here one time, and from what I can remember and the pictures that I saw online, this I would consider to be a fancy type bulk food store. It is definitely not like a lot of the other places that I usually find really good deals at, so I'm kind of curious to look at prices in here and just browse around, see if we find any good deals or anything that piques my interest. But first of all, we are going to grab ourselves a nice coffee. As for aesthetics, this store gets a 10 out of 10. It is just such a clean, delightful store to shop in. Honestly, part of me felt like Trader Joe's and an Amish store kind of combined together, and that's what you have in the Strasburg Marketplace. It was beautifully displayed. Everything was well taken care of. Whoever does their management does a fantastic job of displaying everything, and everything looked very high quality. Just delicious. Their bulk food section, when it came to the candies and the baked goods and all of the normal products you see in these types of bulk food stores, all looked packaged really well and just seemed to be kind of like the normal thing you would see in a bulk food store. And they even had the nice big bulk wall of candy as you see in these stores. And then their refrigerated section was probably the most impressive refrigerated section of the entire day for me. They had so many things like pre-made, which honestly, if I lived closer to this would be a huge selling point for me in stopping in at this store, because it's homemade foods that are pre-made. So a lot of the recipes you all see here on my channel, things that I grew up eating, even more like Mennonite and Amish background recipes, they had so many different things, homemade pizzas, and they even had deviled eggs in trays. So you could pop in, grab this on your way home, and you have deviled eggs when you get home. You didn't have to peel a single egg, okay? They had casseroles, side dishes, loaded baked potatoes. I mean, my goodness, just delicious. They had roasted veggies already ready for you. This would be my type of stop for sure over doing takeout or something like that. I would prefer to have the homemade meals ready for me that I'm able to just heat up and we are able to eat. They had delicious soups, and then they did have a section of cut up meats and cheeses. Now, their deli, even my daughters that were with me were very taken aback by their deli. I have never seen a deli like this ever before. So you can let me know in the comments if this is something common near you with a deli, but this deli provides a pre-cut display, I guess you would call it. They are already cut, and they just weigh out the meats for you. So you don't tell them how you want it cut, I guess. And it was a beautiful display, but I've just never seen a deli like this before. The cheese was all sliced as well, which that's a bit more common, but having all of the lunch meats sliced like they were, pre-cut, just was really interesting to me. And then they also had their own line of many things, whether it was spices, they have their own home canned goods, even barbecue sauces and salad dressings that were with their store label on. And I am sure all of this is to absolute peak Mennonite and Amish perfection when it comes to their own home canned goods. Plus, to be honest, there's times that I do my own home canning and we run out of pickles. Recently, we just ran out of canned jalapenos. And so having a place like this to be able to grab some things that are made very similarly to what you would do in home canning is so nice. They also had gallon jars of stuff like the pickled beets. That was unusual for me. I don't normally see things like that. And then they had an entire section of canned jams and jellies that look like they are made by someone locally, and they all just looked so delicious. And next to that, they had their home baked breads and rolls, and they even had bagels and sub rolls, which are so good. If you've ever had a homemade sub or hoagie, whatever you like to say, let me know in the comments where you're from. Do you say subs? Do you say hoagies? Or maybe you even have another name for them. Let me know what you call that type of sandwich. But they had those rolls as well. And then they had a very large display of whoopie pies and sweetbreads. And this again would be such a great stop if I don't want to be making this stuff myself. I'm able to grab all of this. Then I hit up their produce section again. Absolutely gorgeous, very aesthetic, very beautiful. Again, reminds me a bit of somewhere like Trader Joe's, but very organized, clean, and well put together to find what you need right as you need it. They also had a large row of all of their homemade, or I'm guessing they're homemade, their salad dressings that have their store label on them. Okay, so that store was very interesting. Kind of what I suspected, that it was a little bit of a fancy bulk food store, but still really neat. Definitely worth stopping in there. I really enjoyed that store. So now I am sitting in front of Miller's Natural Food Store. This is a marriage of a health food store and a bulk food store. It is Amish owned. You actually might see a buggy go behind me here in a little bit. It is in the middle of an Amish farm, but the store is large, very large. This is very interesting. I've only been here one other time, and it was quite some time ago, but this is basically a place that is a health food store that has health foods in bulk, which is amazing. As a lot of you know, we eat a lot of specialty things in our house, gluten-free and things like that, along with a lot of regular groceries as well. So I am definitely going to have my eye open for a couple things on my list today. And since we are in this area, we're also going to be hitting up Costco. I forgot to say that at the beginning of this video, but we're going to be hitting up Costco as well. So let's head in here. I'm excited to be here since it's been a long time since I've been here. I'm excited to see what I can find. I know they have a walk-in cooler here, which you all know I like at one of the other bulk food stores I filmed at before. Because you can find goodies and sometimes you can find cases of things and things like that. As you head into the store, outside they had large bags of things. I was trying to gather what all of it was, but I think a lot of it was organic or natural compost or fertilizers for your garden. Since we are coming up on the spring planting season, I think they had a lot of this displayed for that reason. And speaking of spring planting, right inside the door, they had a nice big turnaround display of organic seeds. And so I think it's awesome that you could pick those up right here while you're at the store and start planting your garden if you haven't already. And then there was also stickers right inside the door that showed 10% off of certain cases of things, which is something I talk about a lot with bulk food shopping. And it's nice they have it on the shelves, but a lot of times they don't even advertise that. You kind of have to know that when you go bulk food shopping to ask about case prices. And I do try to mention that in all of my bulk food shopping videos, is to definitely ask about case prices. So right inside the door, they had shelves and coolers with very discounted things. I think that some of their canned items, the canned drinks, were like 69 cents a piece. And then they had a pretty nice display and variety of organic baby food and also formula. I was looking for that word, formula. I haven't used it for a long time. And then other like freeze-dried goodies and stuff like that for little ones that are learning to eat. And then along with that, they just had a large discounted area where things were marked that you could check out. And then I did notice above this area, they had boxes on the top shelf. So those would be considered cases of things and could potentially be discounted. Next, there was a few displays throughout the store of the Sunny Acre Kitchen. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in my haul, but that took our interest. And then again, I gotta keep repeating this, but there was just so many local stores, companies, handmade, homemade things represented. I did get a jug of maple syrup. Then they had this really nice big display of large bags of spices and seasonings, and most of these were organic. This is something that I have never seen in the bulk food shopping that I have done. I've seen spices, pretty large quantities of spices, but not in bags like this and not organic. So that was really cool to see, especially if you are someone that makes home remedies. There are certain spices and seasonings that are really valuable for that. And so being able to have large quantities of those things is really great. And plus being able to support a small business. I say small, but the store was not small. A local run business is really nice. And then they also had smaller containers of seasonings as well in case you didn't need a pound bag of something or whatever. You could get just the small spice jars and just get what you need from that. Again, most of them were organic and very nicely displayed, being able to find what you need quickly. The next section was a lot of natural and organic dry goods, but you'll see where the bulk of those things are in this store. Next up, they had a lot of organic juices, especially if you're someone that needs to do a lot of juicing in your diet. A lot of this is already pre-juiced for you and preserved in a glass bottle, which is really cool. And so you can just go ahead and open that up and drink it. And then they had alternate sweeteners as well, things like stevia, monk fruit, and those types of things. I know I get questions about that just because we do try to eat less sugar in our house, and so having alternate sweeteners is really nice. And then they had gallons and gallons of honey, local honey. They had different types of honey, such a large variety of both sizes and types of honey when it came to the jar size. And it was really cool to see even buckwheat honey here, which is a really dark, delicious honey. If you're a honey lover and have never tried buckwheat honey, I highly recommend it. They had a nice big natural candy selection. So they had mints and gummies and chocolates and those types of things. My daughters took to that very quickly. And then I do a lot of my own home canning of beans, but they did have a big area of soups and beans. But again, I looked up higher and they had cases of those things, so very easily could be getting a case on some of them. So they had granola bars, chips, and so many gluten-free options, which for us is huge. They also carried Bob's Red Mill if you like that brand. And then they had a really large selection of supplements and vitamins, but I did not go through too much of that just because I was not looking for that this day. So now we're gonna head into the cooler room. This thing is massive. It's its own little store. It's so huge, but it is nice and cool in there, and they have buckets of wheat berries. I believe that's what this is. And then also, or crushed grain. And then also if you brought your bucket back, you got a discount on your next bucket. And they had beans and lentils and all kinds of legumes and those types of things. And then next to that, they had a very large selection of dried fruits. And some of these were labeled low sugar. That's one of the things I struggle with getting dried fruits, even at Costco, is sometimes they're super high in sugar. So they're kind of coated in sugar and then dried, which to me kind of defeats the point of eating dried fruit. But anyways, so they had some that was very low in sugar. They had a beautiful display of organic vegetables, which again, I was seeing little bits and pieces of local stuff here, but I'm sure this spring and summer and into fall, they have a huge variety of local organic produce. Their tomatoes, even some of their different colored tomatoes, were just beautiful. Again, I feel like with the variety of produce this store provides, that you could probably get almost all of your groceries at this store, and they would have pretty much everything that you need. And then last but not least in the cooler section is this massive wall of flowers. They had a lot of things on the bottom shelf where you could get things in 25-pound bags. I think it was mostly 25. There might have been a few 50 pounds, but I think it was mostly 25-pound bags. Things like oats, cornmeal, just rice, flowers, just so many different types of dry goods, including the popcorn, organic popcorn, non-GMO popcorn. So basically, if you are someone that orders from Azure, this would be so similar to Azure's stock and what they carry, but you're just able to go to the physical store and you're able to pick out your own produce, which I think is a huge plus, and just be able to see the variety of things. Sometimes it helps me out to be able to see something over picking things out on a website. So today's Costco run was honestly for repurchasing things that we normally buy, but we walked in the door and they had this huge display of kites, and the house that we are currently living at actually gets super windy, and it never really occurred to me to get a kite
that would be such a great activity for our children. And so these were huge, like very sturdy, big kites. And the next thing I hit up was the Kinder's spice display. They have a new, or at least new to me, garlic parmesan. Never tried it before, but spoiler alert, it is amazing. It's so good. So good. And then I just walked through. I had a list of most of the stuff I needed to grab, so that's why I waited until the last stop for this.
All right, friends, so we are back from our little trip and I have a great haul behind me. I am really excited about some of the things I got, and we also did pick up the kite like you saw. The girls are really excited to put it all together and see how it works. We picked the butterfly one. So they had so many different kinds that were fun, and that'll be a fun spring activity in our household. You can see everything behind me. I also have a pack of paper towels on the floor back here. So my thoughts about today. This is also more towards people that have watched a lot of my other videos, because there are some bulk food stores that I go to regularly. So I'm doing comparisons with those stores. Now, of course, this fluctuates from area to area. And I know for a fact that some of the area that I was in Lancaster definitely is probably a little more of a higher end area than what we live in. And so that can have some play in pricing and things like that. So the first store I probably liked the most, it was the store that was the most similar to a lot of the ones I regularly travel to. And I felt like I had a good variety of things. Their sandwiches were delicious at their cafe, and they also had a lot of bulk items and just a good mixture of things, including a great deli. The second place that I went to that I said was more like a fancy bulk food store was definitely more like a fancy bulk food store. It is not necessarily a place that you're gonna find things that are super great deal, but I do wanna say I felt like everything there was of really good quality. Their produce looked great. Everything looked to be packaged well. Their bulk food section had lots of things that were packaged, and they had a great deli there as well. So it was an interesting place. The coffee shop, the Latte Love, of course, is really good, but it definitely is not a place that you're going to save an extra amount. I would say that their prices looked pretty comparable to a regular grocery store. The third place that I feel like was my most exciting part of the day for me today, Miller's Natural Food Store. I think I have that name right. If I don't, I'll put it on the screen here. But I love their store. I definitely will be going back. I feel like it's a great place now that I have an idea of what all they have there. There are things in particular that I know I can get there at a bulk discount, and they also have other things that are discounted like you all saw. So then after that, we went to Costco, and like I said, I picked up a lot of things that are just repurchases for me, but I am gonna show you my haul. All right, I'm gonna start over here. Like I said, we've got some paper towels down here from Costco. I got the Ziploc bags from Costco. I really like Ziploc brand. I've mentioned this before, but I do a lot of freezer meal prep and things like that, as I share here on my channel. And I've just found that cheaper freezer bags tend to lead to freezer burn and things getting lost in the freezer. So I stick with the Ziploc bag brand. Also from Costco, I got the 000 yogurt. This is something that we like a lot in our house, and I get it about every other time we go to Costco. A nice big pack of toilet paper. This was a really great find from the Miller's health food store, or natural food store, I believe is what they call it. So there is 4 boxes in here. I didn't even think to open one of these up. So they had these individual boxes for sale, but then I realized that it was so much better to do a case price. So they were $2.99 for what this would be considered a case, a box. And then in here, they are all natural, sort of like fruit snacks, which for a treat item, a candy type item, if you want to call it that, this is such a good deal. I don't like to spend a ton on those types of items, and I love to find things that don't have dyes and definitely have better ingredients. So these were a great find, and there is mango, strawberry, pineapple mango, and peach. Yummy flavors for sure. My daughters are really excited to get into those. Here I got a nice big bag of oranges from Costco and also poppies. My husband really loves poppies. I actually don't drink these very often at all, but he really loves them, and they were $14.99 for a 15 pack, which if you guys buy poppies, you know, if you buy them individually, they're over $2. So quite literally less than half the price to buy it this way. It's not something I normally buy, but it was such a good deal, I just had to snag it. Then this is also from the natural food store. Their maple syrup was a really good price there, so we were in need of that, grabbed that. And then this was something on my list, and I didn't even realize Costco carried it. So Wild Planet is a great tuna brand. You can do your own digging to find out why it's good to get quality tuna. And I have been buying this at the store, just the grocery store, to make tuna salad for myself, trying to get in those good omegas, and realized here Costco has it for a much better price, even beating out Walmart. So it was great to pick up some of that. This is a new one. As you all saw me picking this up, we are excited to try this. You know how much we love the Kinders or Kinders, however you like to say it. And then these two are both from the health food store. We picked up some lemon stevia. My daughter and I both have really been into drinking hot tea in the evening, and we thought that this would be really yummy. And some of the tea. We also got some tea I'll show you. And then this is something that's a mega staple in our house. I'm actually going to link this below in case you guys want to keep this on hand. This is something that when we are not feeling well, my daughters will even ask for this, just simply because it helps you feel so much better, and we feel like it helps us get better really quickly. So the link for this, you can get this on Amazon, and it was the same price at this store as it was on Amazon. So I went ahead and picked it up just to support a family-run business. Then they also had some gluten-free cookies. These were a snack on the way home. They're open. Over here, we got some apples. Oh, this was from the health food store. Then this here is from Costco. We just grabbed some apples. The girls have been on an apple kick. This was from the Singing Springs store. My husband has been wanting crab dip, and I've had a hard time finding it, so I thought he would enjoy this. These are some teas that were on sale at the health food store. So we got this one. It's called a Red Zinger, and these are all caffeine free, which is most of the time when I'm drinking tea is in the evening. And so we just thought it would be fun to try these out. My daughter's been wanting a peach tea, so we got that one. I thought the apple cinnamon spice sounded so yummy. And then this one here is a very fruity style tea that we want to try, even icing it. Then this, actually, I got a couple bags of these. Just have one here. They were a good price. Again, we try to find candies that don't have dyes in them, and maybe less sugar. And what kid doesn't want a little bit of candy in their life? I know that you can't totally remove it, but at least if I can find some healthier alternatives. And then I got some Brussels sprouts at Costco. We got some butter at Costco. No, it's not the grass-fed butter this time around. I just decided to put some more of my budget into some other areas like this right here. I'll get to in a second. So we just grabbed the regular butter this time. So this is one of the big reasons I want to go back to this store. And I know these prices may look high compared to just regular old bread, but our one daughter in particular cannot do gluten very well. She's gluten sensitive, and she can do traditionally made sourdough items, and especially if it's einkorn flour. And so I was thrilled to find this. The brand is called Sunny Acre Kitchen. It is a Pennsylvania small company. And so we've got some sourdough garlic and herb rolls, which my husband is going to love to make burgers with those. And then we just have the regular sourdough. We thought we would try this out, especially because we haven't done very many einkorn products before, so I wasn't sure if we would like this, but if we go again, I'll just pick up several loaves and put them in the freezer. And so for toast, sandwiches, that kind of thing, these were such a specialty item. My daughter, the one that is gluten sensitive, loves salty things. She will pick salty things over baked goods and candy and things like that. And so this was just like gold to her. So these are garlic parmesan sourdough pretzel stick. And so a lot of times when she has pretzels, they're gluten-free, and if you've ever had gluten-free pretzels or eaten a lot of them, they can just feel kind of heavy in your stomach. So we are excited to try these out. They had another flavor or two as well of these. Then this also was a prized find for her. Again, I understand these prices are a little on the high side, but when you have special needs, sometimes it's just worth it to splurge when you don't get these kinds of things. So something else that she loves, like I'm not even kidding, this just being able to find this was perfect. She loves soft pretzels. And I don't know if it's just a Pennsylvania and Ohio thing or simply a Mennonite and Amish thing, but soft pretzel places are pretty common in the Ohio and Pennsylvania areas. And so oftentimes we will see them, and she knows she can't have them. So being able to find this, we can freeze these and warm up one at a time. She can dip them in mustard. Again, being that more like salty person, this she just was thrilled about. And also one of the ladies that was working there that actually checked us out said that they get pizza crusts in their freezer section made from this brand. So I want to see how she feels on all of this, but hopefully it works out well and we're able to use this, because these are just such special items that she normally would not be able to have. So moving on to some cheese, we've got the sharp cheddar cheese that I really like to get from Costco. And then this also, like I mentioned, loved the cheese selection at the first store, and I thought their prices were good. I love how it lists raw milk and it just tells you what's in each of them. So I went ahead and picked up this big block of farmer's cheese. We will enjoy slicing that up. This is a new find, or I should say a new thing for me to pick up at Costco. I don't necessarily know that it's a new find. I think it's something that they have had, but they didn't have their regular mango chunks. That's something that we like to get a lot, but this mixture has mango, pineapple, peaches, and strawberries, and my daughter thought this would be really good to make smoothies with. Here we've got the organic green beans, the organic peas, the nice big bags of them, and then the organic blueberries and strawberries. I don't know of anywhere that beats Costco's prices on these things. Between these things and the toilet paper, those are the reasons that we like to go to Costco. And then we, of course, find other things that are great. But the frozen organic fruits and veggies that we can get there, the prices, you just simply cannot beat them. All right, friends, so I am doing my best to keep up with our little chit chats, little yap sesh at the end of my videos. I'm having some of the peach tea that we got at Miller's Natural Food Store, along with some of the lemon stevia, and we found that to be a super great combination. Today's a little on the dreary side. Yesterday we had a huge storm, so I'm just kind of cozying up with a soft blanket, and we just had a very low-key day. A lot of homeschool work got done today and just normal things around the house. And this mug is so hot on the bottom, but if you guys follow me on Instagram, then you might recognize this mug. It says Home Sweet Home on the one side, and then it has this fun little like pocket that says tea bag mug on the back. And so I'm going to be able to plunk my tea bag in there when my my tea is done steeping. But this week has been good. In fact, I am, just sitting in, relishing in a bit more of a normal week, not having quite as much on my plate, which really makes me happy. And I want to say, I want to apologize. 2 videos ago, our last little yap sesh here on the sofa in the sunroom, my video ended for some reason. It just didn't, I don't think that it rendered out quite correctly, and I didn't realize the end of it wasn't there. And so it just kind of stopped very abruptly, and some of you were kind enough to let me know that in the comments, because I don't normally rewatch my video after I upload it. I watch it before I upload it just to proof watch it, but I don't always rewatch it. And so thank you to those of you who let me know that. And I think what I was getting ready to talk about was this plant right here. And one of you even said, you stopped whenever you started talking about your fiddle leaf fig. Tell me what you said, because I have a fiddle leaf fig and all of that. So anyways, we will get to that in just a second, but just wanted to say that this week has felt very good. I have continued on. Again, sometimes I forget what I talk about on Instagram versus what I talk about on YouTube, or those two things going on. But I did mention on Instagram a couple of weeks ago that I started taking a rest day, or a Sabbath per se, on Saturdays, just because Sundays seem to be so busy for us. We, have to get up, get to church. Sometimes we have family things. We get together for lunch with family or friends, or we have other things going on, or else it seems like by Sunday night, there's preparations that have to happen for the week to start. And so I end up not feeling very rested on Sundays. And so I just decided to take a rest day on Saturdays, not because of any specific conviction or anything like that, but just because it seems to work better with our life and with my life. And I feel so rejuvenated and rested when I get up on Sunday mornings. And so this has been I don't know if I should say life-changing, but it feels like it has been life-changing, just because I feel like by Saturday I can sleep in. I don't have to get up to get ready for church or get everybody else ready for church. And I can just simply rest. And so I sleep in, I get up, I can do things around the house in my PJs. This past Saturday, I did some plant care, which is so relaxing to me, so restful to me. I usually take a nap, read some books, pray, read my Bible, just recharge and rejuvenate. And I have felt such a clarity of mind being very intentional about getting rest in that way. And then by Sunday rolls around, we can go to church, we can do lunch with somebody if we do, and then Sunday afternoons I can take that time to kind of get a jump on my week, get out my planner, make sure I've got stuff written down, go over my schedule, calendar, make sure that I am on time with certain things, and also kind of get in touch with where we left off in our school curriculum the week before, and just those bits and pieces. So those things have been so good and just have felt so good. And I've been more intentional in my scheduling, like I mentioned, even just things like we did in this week's video, going to more bulk food stores that I've never been to before, just kind of branching out in that area. I am so excited that I discovered the Miller's Natural Food Store. I feel like that's going to be a place that I get more consistent in going to, even though it's a little further away. It's just worth it for our family. It doesn't mean it's worth it for everybody, but for our family, it's worth it to occasionally go there, and possibly tie that in with Costco, just those things. And I don't really feel like me taking the time to adventure a little further away to Lancaster would have happened without me picking up on planning a month in advance on certain things. So those things are going really, really well. And if you guys have a struggle with resting, I definitely encourage you to be super intentional about it. I mean, the Bible talks about us taking a Sabbath for a reason, and it's just amazing how much more during the week I'm getting done. I know that sounds a little backwards in some sense, but just taking the time, like I don't go on my phone on my day of rest. I just like basically don't, because I'm someone that works a lot, and I've mentioned this in my last video, I'm just a go, 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 yes person. I definitely see myself having to make sort of a bigger boundary when it comes to rest, just because all it takes is me like going and doing a bunch of shopping or something, and I'm just like triggered to do more projects, and I'm triggered to think about those types of things. And that's really what I try to do on those rest days, is just like turn my brain off and reevaluate, you know, where I'm at, where my mind is, where my heart is, and all of those kind of things. So what I was saying about this plant in my video that it got cut off, this is a fiddle leaf fig plant, and this is one as well, and you can see how nice and full this one is, and how this one right here just has these 2 leaves. Well, for a while this thing got really mad at me when we moved, and for a while it was just dropping a leaf, like constantly dropping a leaf. I'm going to take my tea bag out and stick it, ooh, we're dripping, stick it in its special little pocket here. This is so, oh, this peach tea is just so good. It's like calling on spring for me for sure. So this here was nice and full like this one, dropped leaves, and it wasn't like it dropped all of its leaves even in a week. Like it was weeks. It was drawn out. It was dramatic. Okay, guys, like really dramatic. I don't even know, but apparently fiddle leaf, once I kind of started doing a little more research, fiddle leaf figs can be this way. And I've heard people talk about it before, and I was like, mine are fine. You know, like the 2, or I think maybe I've had a 3rd one, but the ones I've had have not given me too many tantrums. And so then we moved. This guy went through its dramatic shedding of its leaves, and I thought maybe it died. Honestly, I was like, it's probably dead. But I did find a little bit of advice online, and someone said, just wait and see what happens. So this was literally just a stick, and so I left it go out here. I didn't move it. And I said this in my other video, and this is where it got cut off. If you're thinking about moving your fiddle leaf fig, just don't. Just don't. Like if it's happy wherever it's at, let it there. Please let it there. Because now I'm scared to move either of these from this position where they're at right now, because they apparently, when you move them from room to room or spot to spot, it can really disrupt them, and they can just go into shock and think that they're dying. So it has these 2 gorgeous leaves. It started out with just a little green speck up here, and now it's growing some leaves back. So I definitely will let you guys know. And I mean, obviously you'll see in my videos, but I'm hoping we can cultivate a beautiful, healthy plant once again. We will see. We will see how it goes. Another thing that I started doing was checking my soil when I water. I've never really done that before. I just take a wooden skewer stick and stick it in and just see how much water is on, or like how moist the stick looks. And that has been very eye-opening. I definitely had a couple plants that were way too wet on the bottom. So now I'm kind of understanding better how to manage watering. And I don't know how far to go with my planty stuff, but you guys seem to like it. So I decided to bring a little show and tell to this yap sesh and show you guys one of my new plants. If you follow me on Instagram, I took pictures of this. So my sister-in-law, Sarah, gave me this as a really late birthday present. My birthday, it was months ago, but she wanted to get this for me, and it's called a dragonite plant. I think there's some other words that go with it, but basically it has dragon in the name, I know for sure. And so the leaves are like crazy thick. So I think you can see, but they are like, I don't know, leathery. It's probably the best way to say it, but I just love it. I'm gonna put him back up here for the moment, even though that's not actually where it sits. So apparently it likes low light, so I've been keeping it in on my desk, but I had to bring it over here for some show and tell. And it also likes moisture, but I've seen these around. They're kind of something that, I don't know if it's trending or they are considered like a more rare houseplant, but I think that it is the prettiest ugly thing I think I've ever owned. Yeah, it's ugly, but it's also pretty, it's also cute, it's also fascinating, and I was just so taken by it, and she decided to get me that. So that was so special to me for sure. So, I mean, it's a good thing, but my life has consisted of homeschooling, editing, doing normal things like cooking dinner, keeping up with the house, and those kind of things, and then planty stuff. Plants have just been my little like extra thing. Oh, besides reading, which by the way, I thought it was so interesting whenever I mentioned my last book rec here on YouTube, how much you guys really enjoyed that. Apparently I have some other bookish friends that watch my content, which is so fun. But I really, really love just a lot of like Christian fiction and things like that. And so right now I actually am doing something that I haven't done for a long time. I've tried to train myself into really only having like one book on the go at a time. Well, about a week and a half ago or something like that, I kind of ended up starting like 4 books at once. And so I've just been like rotating through them. And they've just been really good. One of them is kind of, I don't know what to put it into, maybe general fiction, but it's about 4 friends back in the 70s, how their summer went and all of that. I think it's called The Best Summer of Our Lives. I'll pop a picture of the cover on here. That one's okay. I'm not one, it's kind of reminds me of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, if you guys watched that years ago when that was such a hot movie. It reminds me of that a little bit more. It's okay. It's not really my taste. I don't know what I'll end up giving it as far as like star rating till I'm done with it. And then I'm reading a rom-com right now. I read another rom-com recently. It's called Dear Henry, Love Edith, and it is so funny. Like if I could give it a 6 star, I would. It is definitely one of the best books that I have read in the past year for sure. It is super funny, super cute, clean romance, but really funny. I'm not going to go into it. You can read the description of it, but highly recommend if you're looking for something light and cheery to read. And then the current one that I'm reading, I can't even remember. I think it's called Hero's Debut. Hero's Debut. I'm not sure. I'll pop the cover here. That one seems to be good. I'm only a couple chapters in. And guys, honestly, if I start reading a book and there's just something in it that does not sit well with me, I'm very sensitive to like my own convictions of things that I will allow myself to read. I will just get rid of the book. That's just the way that I go. So I'm telling you these titles without having completed the books. So keep that in mind, other than the Dear Henry, Love Edith. So that's the rom-com, and then I'm reading another romantic suspense. I have never read a romantic suspense before, but someone recommended it, and again, I'll put the cover here. I'm like trying to, something beauty, I think, or I'm trying to remember the title right now, but also very interesting. I've just never read that type of book before, so it's very fascinating to me so far. It seems really good and like has a lot of good grounds for sure. And I have a couple other books on the go, but oh, I know one that I'm going to be starting is Garden City, and that's more of a faith-based book, but my brother has read it a couple of times and really recommended that as well. So there's a couple book recs for you guys, because y'all know it's like tea, coffee, plants, and books outside of my kids and husband and homeschooling. And obviously meal prepping, like you guys see, and all the YouTube-y things I do. So yeah, anyways, there's my little yap sesh about just like literally this, that, and the other for sure. But I'm glad you guys stuck around, and I hope that this video was inspiring to you. And if you are totally new here, hi, I'm Adaline. A lot of people call me Addie. I'm from Central Pennsylvania. And I've been doing YouTube since my youngest was 6 weeks old, and she is currently 7 and going to be 8 before too long. So been doing it for a long time. I do lots of meal prepping, homemaking things, a vlog or two here and there, just life. And I'm married to my husband, Corey. We've been married for 11 years now, and we homeschool, like you heard, if you've watched this whole video. So there's a little synopsis of me and all the things I do. Also, like I said, I have been loving ladder, and I truly mean that. I mean, obviously, I am giving you guys my reviews when it comes to sponsored content, but I really love ladder. I have been telling everybody about it, telling my friends and family about it. It is just like having a personal trainer in your pocket. And for me, that's what I need. I need a plan. I need somebody to just tell me what to do so I can do it. I don't need to do all the research myself on how I should be doing this and having the correct form and all of that. I love when someone can just tell me what to do and then I can do it. So if you guys want to check out ladder yourself, check out the information in the description box below to get up to 33% off. I know you guys will love it. Seriously, just give it a try. Just give it a try. And then you can decide if it's for you as well. And subscribe if you're totally new here. Chat with me in the comments. I love hearing from you all. And I'll see you guys in my next video.